Chris Brown, Steve Tasker here with you, along with the Hall of Famer, Thurman Thomas, making his weekly appearance. How you doing, Thurm?
Good. Chief week, huh?
Chiefs week, yeah. Wow. They're practically a division opponent, Thurm. We see this team just about every year now.
Every year now, right?
Just play them again next year in the schedule.
What?
Yeah, they play the AFC West next year as a division, and they're going to have to go there again.
Come on. You think they'll go there again?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because if they win the division and the Bills win the East, the home and home falls that way.
Well, it's because the last time the Bills played the AFC West in 2020, they had the Chiefs here.
In 2020, with no fans.
With no fans.
Yeah.
And they had the Chargers here.
Right.
And then they played Vegas on the road and Denver on the road. That was that 48-19 beatdown with the Jerry Hughes fumble return for a touchdown. That was that road game in Denver. So now, in 2022, they get Denver and Vegas here, and they go to Kansas City and to LA Chargers. So, yes, on the road again.
Oh, my God.
Back to Arrowhead. Where the Bills, won in the regular season last year, but obviously not in the playoffs.
Right.
So
it's almost, it could be like, well, that's a hard place to get home field advantage. That place. It's pretty much
the way
Kansas
that thing
City,
is contoured, it just throws all the noise right down on the field. It is one of the loudest places I have ever seen in the NFL.
Tell you what, it was loud. We weren't there, obviously.
You guys played some Sunday and Monday night games there in your day.
Got crushed.
I'll bet you what, they were loud. They were loud last night.
Yeah.
When that official.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
They were loud last night.
The indignation was coming out.
Yeah, and they had cameras right up on the first row of fans.
Did you see that guy?
Did you see that one lady?
That is a meme.
What are you doing?
Did you see the guy with the hat with the visor backwards, and he has a Chiefs red blazer on, and he's
letting them have it.
Oh my gosh, he is screaming, veins popping out. Yeah. You're horrible. You're. I mean, I've never seen anybody like that.
It was.
I don't know how different my life would have to be to have me in the front row of a stadium doing that for even the Bills. I don't think could do it.
No.
I couldn't do it.
Are you telling us you've never been that upset at an official? Because I would challenge you on that.
Even when I got thrown out, I wasn't.
I'm throwing the challenge flag.
I wasn't. Let me just say this: I wasn't even that upset when I got tossed. My last game. Now there were times, and I'll say this: that me getting tossed in my last game, that wasn't even as mad as I'd ever been in an official. It was just a different set of circumstances. I've been really mad at officials.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I have been hot.
We all have.
Here we go. Wow, who pulled that out of the archives?
Ooh, they're fast with that, aren't they?
That was quick.
Marv looking at me going, I hate that guy.
Is that
That was Steve's last game.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Is that Johnny Greer?
There he goes up the
No,
tunnel.
it was Mike Carey.
Oh, there you go.
You know who else was on that staff?
Oh,
was what's his name? Mike Pereira was on that staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I deserve it.
I mean, like you say, that's the Lonnie Johnson game.
That is the Lonnie
And we were
Johnson
out of the playoffs, and you knew it wasn't because Bruce came out in like sleeves. I'm like, oh boy, this.
Yeah.
Because it was the last game of the season, right?
Yeah. It was cold, dude. Green Bay.
It was Green Bay.
It was a bad day.
Yeah, bad
all
day.
the way around. Kenny Irvin, bless his heart, trying to pull me back.
That's right. Oh. Yeah. We just had Kenny Irvin.
Kenny was just the last
Tasker's teammate last week.
Tasker's teammate.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, last week we had him
Look at him
on.
trying to save me. Bless his heart. I wasn't having it.
Didn't happen. Chiefs, Thurm, what'd you think of last night's game? Travis Kelce doesn't have Tyreek Hill as a running mate anymore. Doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah, I mean.
What the hell were the Raiders doing?
They're not even like really throwing long passes anymore. Everything is short. I mean, kind of like, 12 and 15 play drives now that Kansas City is doing now, and they're running the ball a little bit more.
They ran it. Yeah, they got that committee now. That Pacheco kid.
Yeah.
From where's he from? Rutgers, I want to say.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm like, have somebody else beat me besides Travis Kelce.
Right? I mean, you do whatever.
Run all night long.
Yeah, I don't know what the Raiders were thinking, game plan wise here, but clearly Kelce was not enough of a priority.
No, not at all. What did he 4 catches for 25 yards?
I was joking with Steve. He had almost as many points as he had yards. 24 points and 25 yards.
He had Butch Roll's career in one night.
Right.
Or Mitch Farad.
Yeah.
Mitch Farad.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I mean, look at this. He's running around the end
How
zone
is that? I mean, it's
by
the
himself.
end of the game. How do you not have anybody on that guy?
Unbelievable.
I don't understand that. I mean, somebody help me there.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, the Raiders are 1-4 for a reason.
Yeah. Who's the Raiders?
Josh McDaniels.
Okay.
No,
but
defense. I think he was going to ask
coordinator.
defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Now I got to look that up.
That guy needs to.
There's your answer. We don't know who that is.
Right.
We hope we can look it up before he's fired. But
And I was
Patrick
thinking like
Graham.
who?
Patrick Graham.
I don't know him.
He was with the Giants before that staff got bounced last year. And I know that Brian Dable actually tried to keep him.
Really?
But, yeah, he went out to the Raiders because he used to work for the Patriots as an assistant, which is why McDaniels wanted him out there in Las Vegas.
I bet you should have took the Giants.
Might be thinking twice about that choice now.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I'm with you, Thurman. I do anything in my power to neutralize Kelce. And if Valdez-Scantling and Smith-Schuster are good enough to beat me, well, then my hat's off to you. But I'm not letting the guy that's beaten me before and beat me in overtime in the playoff game last year beat me now.
Yeah, that guy will have 4 catches for 24, 25 yards, but he ain't scoring touchdowns. Not like that. Not like that. But what do? You put Matt Milano on him. I mean, obviously.
They've tried everybody.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Over the years, yeah. I mean, Micah Hyde has been in that situation where he's covered
They
him.
didn't put Tre'Davious on him in the
right?
past.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, who
They'll
did
do
put
it.
out there
They'll try a ton of different things. They'll
Von
double
Miller?
him. They'll in and out him. They'll over the top him.
He was
they'll
saying,
bracket him.
crack him at the line with Vaughn.
But even if you're gonna like, it used to be at the red zone. I brought this up to Brownie.
Right.
Romeo Crennel did this, where Tony Gonzalez was the tight end. He'd have 2 guys just like he was a punt gunner. They just jump on him and grab him, push him back into the backfield, and just hold him there. And that works fine until the guy takes a step off the line of scrimmage and goes in motion across the formation.
Right,
and he's like,
exactly.
oh, geez, now what are we going to do?
or he's there in a stack. You're stacking behind
so
somebody.
they'll just hide him. So you can't really, you can have that as a plan, but if they get an inkling that you're going to do that, they just move the guy.
The guy's never been – he's coming off the line of scrimmage, and he's never getting bumped.
Well, that's by design, too.
Yeah, right.
So they put him
But
in
you can
motion, they
still-
move him and all that.
You can still move him or whatever. You can still have somebody on the line of scrimmage
Crack him,
jam
right?
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just like a free release. I don't care if he's 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. If I'm a defensive back, I'm going to sit there until he comes to me right there on the line of scrimmage, and I'm going to get a jam on him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just to kind of disrupt the timing, right? Like something.
You got to do something. You're just letting him run
Free release is suicide.
Good luck, Leslie and Sean.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think this is going to be because, I know I'm a little bit of a prisoner at the moment. We've been talking about all this stuff that's going on in the league with how difficult it is to play defense. We were talking about it on the 5 Presidents text loop last night. Yeah, guys saying you can't even tackle guys anymore, particularly in the pocket. So I think this is going to be one of those games where you got to score with these guys.
Yeah,
I mean, like the playoff game was last January.
Yeah, high scoring game. Both teams will probably score over 35.
Yeah, and it's the first one of 50 wins.
I will say this: the Chiefs' defense has not done a good job of stopping anybody this year.
No,
the Bills are tied for first in points allowed, with San Francisco. The Chiefs
the Bills are holding people off the board. Yeah,
the Chiefs are 23rd in points allowed.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
but they're
the bottom
at
third
home.
of the league.
They're at home. They're flying
They have
high.
up 29 to the Raiders.
Yeah,
But you know what? I take our pass rush over this. That's huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
And the Raiders had some. The Raiders
right now, that pass rush, well, you're going to have to get rid of the ball, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, the Raiders had some success last night, at least early on. And they tightened it up.
Yeah.
They got a little better. So we'll see if the Bills can have more consistent success throughout the game. But you know what happens. I mean, things get better as they roll on. And this 4th and 1 over the top to Devontae Adams was a brilliant play call. I thought it was great. It shows a lot of confidence in 2 really good players. But that's it, man. It stopped.
Safety.
It stopped.
That's what you do.
Right. You can't.
Can anybody stop us right now? And I'm looking at, and you know what Gabe Davis reminded me of? Really. And people might say, whatever. Like, he's not fast. He's like Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice wasn't fast.
Jerry Rice wasn't fast.
Running
He
4.6,
wasn't fast.
right?
Yeah.
But he caught
And
stuff.
Gabe is like, I mean, you see him run, it's almost like he's hurting sometime to run. He gets down, he pulls separation away from guys.
So the most impressive thing, I talked to Gabe after the game in the locker room, and I was asking him about the first touchdown. He knew before the snap that the safety was not lined up in a way that was going to allow him to help the corner that was lined up against him.
Oh,
he
okay.
said the leverage was bad from the start of the play. So he knew,
Yeah.
I just give the corner a step out and then get inside of him. That safety, he was too high. He
high,
wasn't
couldn't
deep
come
enough,
over there,
and he
right.
couldn't get there in time. Bad
Yeah,
angle.
bad angle.
And now he's chasing, and then once Levi fell down, it was over.
It was over with.
So he knew before the snap,
Yeah.
if we can hold up and protect, I got this guy.
Hey,
And-
I tell you what, though,
and he
too,
had him.
And we're talking about Josh and Gabe and Diggs. Offensive line been pretty good.
Yeah.
They have been pretty good.
They've held
They
up.
Don't really get talked about enough. But, I mean, in order to throw passes like this past game, you got to have that offensive
On your
line
2-yard
good.
line?
On the 2-yard line? Exactly. Now, I know Pittsburgh is not the Pittsburgh of old. I mean, past couple of years with T.J. Watt or whatever, but still, 2-yard line, that's confidence right
Yeah.
there. That's confidence right there. And so, that kid right there, man, I love him to death. He is just
The
like
toast of the town.
He is just like the toast of the town. You know, I'm thinking one day with this road game, hey Josh, can I drive you to the airport? Yeah. I mean, he's just and he's so good for Buffalo.
Oh, he's perfect
He's
fit.
so good for Buffalo. Perfect fit. I mean, just
I mean,
I'm so glad we got him.
Yeah, he's
We
a
got
rock.
it right.
He's a rock star and deserves it. And he keeps playing as good, or he keeps getting a little better. Something new all the time. He's doing. It's been great. This game in Kansas City, well, he really burst onto the scene with the playoff game this last January. I mean, that was when it was like, oh, these guys really are.
Really
they were clicking. Plus,
Right.
the game the week before against New England, when you couldn't get him off the field, couldn't make him punt.
Well, unless he
Couldn't get-
scored.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's really, they were clicking so well then that it raised the expectations almost beyond, beyond accomplishing, to fulfilling it. You know, but I think in this game, there's no question. This is going to be their toughest game yet, even with the Dolphins, even with the Baltimore Ravens. I think because this is a team, when they showed it again last night, they were down 17, just like the Bills were in Baltimore. They fought back before halftime. It was 20-10, just like the Bills were in Baltimore. And they end up winning a 1-point game like the Bills, nearly did in Baltimore as a couple of point game. So these two teams, I think, are built a lot alike.
Yep.
I think the Bills' defense is better, no question about it. But being on the road is going to make it tough.
It's tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I told Steve before we came in here to do the show, if the Bills' defense can get the Chiefs to punt 3 times and they don't turn the ball
I'll go
over.
4 times every quarter.
If they can get them to punt 3 times and the Bills don't turn it over, which has been a problem because they lead the league in turnovers.
Yeah, I know.
They've turned it over more than they've punted.
They have.
It just, the
There's
stats,
eight
the
punts,
stats
9
are just
turnovers.
crazy, yeah.
But that's my
nuts.
formula. They get the Chiefs to punt 3 times
right.
and the Bills don't turn it over. I think that's all they need to win the game.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, that's nothing. They can
Can
do
I have
that
a couple
easy.
of turnovers too?
Well,
Along with
I
the
mean,
3 punts?
Sure. So you want dessert also?
Yeah,
All right.
I want it all.
I
I
would
want it
go-
all. I want it all.
with Kansas
We
City.
need-
Cream's on the
Exactly.
pudding.
We need to leave that stadium going into the bye week being like, well, I guess this is the team to beat right here.
Yeah.
I say this though. Usually, when you go in, like you go +2 on a team turnovers, you get 2 fumble recoveries or a fumble recovery and a pick or 2 picks, and more than they get.
Yeah.
Usually, that's a backbreaker. This for the Chiefs, it's almost got to be like +4.
Right.
Well, yeah, unless you're getting them to punt, which sometimes is harder than getting a turnover off of that.
They had
you got
a
it-
3. They started the game last night against the Raiders 3 and out, and another couple of 3 and outs out of the first 3 or 4 possessions.
But you
I
got
was surprised.
You got to look at like Andy Reid too. where they're at in that situation, he might not punt because he might be thinking, I got to score.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I got to score. And that's Andy Reid. That's kind of how he goes about things. And so, yeah, he's one of them veteran coaches that, I ain't punting.
They're very
'cause, yeah.
they're really good too, because you can tell, and I don't know anything about Josh McDaniels or how the Raiders are doing or how their staff is put together or anything like that, but I know this: Andy Reid and that staff there with Eric Bieniemy and Spagnuolo, they got some guys in there that you could tell as that game evolved, the Chiefs were evolving within their game plan. They were changing things up because they started out slow offensively, and their defense was struggling. But as the game wore on, they got a handle on it, and they adjusted. Well, that's what the Bills have done really well as well.
Yeah.
Adjustments.
They have,
Talk about, and they've shut everybody out in the second half defensively. You know, the Dolphins scored 1 fourth quarter touchdown, and that's it for the entire year. The Bills are the same. So I think this is really going to be a battle of the coaching staffs to make sure they stay one step ahead and kind of, try and stymie one or the other of them to give yourself an edge. I think it's really crucial, and I think you got to match Reed and Spagnuolo and Bieniemy and all those guys on that side of the field, because they did a really nice job. That was one of the things that gave them the win last night against the Raiders, because the Raiders were thumping them early on, and they got a handle on what the Raiders they got a handle on what the Raiders were doing, both offense and defense.
Are we going to do that?
I don't know, but the RPO game worked pretty good for the run game this past week. I mean, they had some bounces to the outside that looked pretty good.
It's still Pittsburgh.
That's true. You're right.
Always go back to
and
that.
It's not your dad's Pittsburgh.
right. And now everything has changed, because now it might not be able to hear.
They might win 6 games, maybe.
Yeah, you got to do hand signals now for the clap. It's going to be so loud. So everything is just totally thrown off.
Let me bounce this off you, Thurman, because we're asking our listeners this today. Give me a Bills depth player these past few weeks that has stepped in and impressed you the most. Do you have a guy in mind, like one of these guys a little further down on the roster that's kind of stepped up, and you're like, wow, he gave us a lot more than I anticipated?
Our choices were Shakir, DeMar Hamlin, Quentin Morris.
I'm going with Hamlin.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
This is his second year, right?
Yeah.
Second year. I mean, I like him.
He's got good range.
He got great range, and it looks like he's out there. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Got a little pop behind
his pads.
Got a little
pop. Who did he hit last week?
Well, he hit Pickett on a slide, so.
Yeah, right. A big, but I thought it was. I thought it was a perfect timing for it.
Close.
It was close, but
I gotta be honest. I thought it should have been a penalty.
Oh, come on! See, they just giving everything to these quarterbacks now. I mean, come on.
Yes, they did. And listen, I thought the guy was going to get called. I was looking for it.
Nope.
I'm glad he didn't, obviously, but I thought, that's going to get called.
Johnson had a nice game last week in for Edmonds.
Yep.
So I thought he did really well.
And
a lot of guys, man.
Taryn been just awesome for us, Johnson.
You're almost taking him for granted.
I know, man. Yeah. Yes, he has been solid for the last 3 years.
Yes,
and continues to make plays.
It's hard to find a nickel corner who's playing better than Taron Johnson. I can't even think of another one.
Yeah.
He's
got a good one, Kenny Moore.
Yeah.
But there aren't many.
Yeah, and I like the way Milano's played too.
Oh, I think
he's looking at. I'm telling you, he's looking at probably like all pro.
That's what I was thinking. He's playing.
Yes.
He hasn't made a Pro Bowl yet.
He
hasn't made a Pro Bowl yet.
How about that?
This
Matt
could
Milano.
be the year that he's everywhere, and obviously, he looks a little bit bigger, but he is all over the field.
The job that he and Tremaine did against Lamar in the open field in week 4.
At open field, yeah.
They were awesome running him down, tackling,
Milano's
open field with Lamar. Nobody's signing up for that.
Nobody's doing that. No, not at all. So
yeah. Milano's playing at an elite linebacker level right now. He really is. He's playing elite.
Yeah.
And Tremaine was playing that way before he pulled his ham. He was playing extremely well too. And I think, and I keep getting back to it. Show after show, it comes up at some point where I say, a lot of the success they're having has come from how big a step forward their front 4 have made.
Just
Vaughn,
front 8.
Yeah.
Because they rotate all of them.
Vaughn, Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips, the whole crew in there.
Will they have that crew this week?
Don't know if you're going to have Jordan Phillips.
Probably won't have Jordan Phillips. I think. I don't know. We haven't heard anything, but
they just signed Brandon Bryant back to the roster today, so he's back in the fold, and
so
you do a lot worse than Brandon.
I think
Bryant.
a lot of that. I think Milano and Edmonds' step forward has been contributed to by how much better they're playing up front.
Absolutely. Those front guys up there, the 8 of them, And they've been unbelievable.
Yeah,
they've been unbelievable. And look, it's obviously it's a passing league, but they've done well against the run too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
done well against the run, and probably will continue because Kansas City got some nice running backs.
Yeah, they're going full-blown committee now.
Yeah.
Pacheco, Edwards-Helaire, and then McKinnon. I don't know what it is about McKinnon. That guy's like 30 years old. He still has.
Is he 30 years old?
I think he's almost 30, or he'll turn 30 this year.
And it looks like he can still run like a 4-4.
He's got juice still.
Right. Right. I noticed
him yesterday.
We talked about him last year, I think.
Yeah. It's like,
did.
where is this juice coming from?
Right.
He's still got it, though, so more power to him, I guess.
More power to him, yeah.
Thurm, do you think, how many points do you think the Bills have to score to kind of be in the safe zone to win this thing?
Safe zone? 35 and up.
35 and up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least they've done that a couple of times this year.
They have done that a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah. 30. Yeah. 30. I mean, you got to give the Bills defense a little boost. I mean, because the Raiders held them to 29.
Right.
You got to think the
24?
Bills might be able to hold them to mid-20s, at least field goal or 2 field goals less than that. So yeah, but 35 would make you feel.
Make you feel real nice.
Yeah.
All right, Thurm. Thanks as
Appreciate
always
it.
for
Yeah,
stopping in. Good to see you. We'll
absolutely.
catch up with you next week. Hopefully, we're talking about another Bills victory.
Absolutely. Going into the bye week.
That would be lovely. We'll all vote for that
Yeah.
unanimously.